Welcome, connoisseurs of fine common cardboard. Let's get started. Good evening and welcome everybody to the Common Connoisseurs. My name's Ryan Papa Popper, as you all probably know. Thanks for joining me tonight. We've got a little spicy bit of inspiration I wanted to share with you. Um, Something I had seen on Twitter. This wasn't my original idea, but it is something we're going to run with. And boy, am I excited because it ticks a lot of the boxes for the sorts of things that I, Papa Popper, like to do in Magic. So, many of you have been teased relentlessly as to what this commander might actually be. And we're just going to rip the band aid off because I'm sure it's just been agonizing. It's Yargle. We're going to build CPDH Yargle. And I, I can't lie to you. It's not Yargle. I can't do it. Uh, Anthony, no, I'm trolling. In the tryhards Discord, we had some people say that it might be that it might be Yargle. Yeah, it's not Yargle. It's not Yargle. I'll save you all from your torment. Here it is. We have Thrall Parasite. Thrall Parasite. So this commander is a 1 mana extort creature with a nearly useless secondary ability, and it's in mono black. Extort doesn't cause the color to change. The white black is reminder text. Thrall Parasite was shared on Twitter by Brad Drac V of the PDH Pod, also the server owner for the Popper Guild in Discord. And he posted this, and I think that I had always been so focused on the extort creatures at common that I'd never bothered to look to see if there was anything at uncommon. And I've often thought that extort was like a better version of what Witherbloom Apprentice has stapled onto it with Magecraft. Mainly because Witherbloom Apprentice would still be a powerful and reasonable commander, even if it didn't have the word copy in it. The copy part of it is just like kind of part of it's like to me it's always been kind of like a bonus, right? And so I've always thought, man, it feels like when people put extort in their deck, it feels like they just have a copy of Witherbloom Apprentice, but better because you're gaining 1 life for every 1 life lost. So you're gaining 3, draining 1 from everybody at a meager cost of 1 black um, or white. And what the difference is here is that Thrall Parasite is going to extort off of every single spell in our entire deck. And this is one of the places where I have always felt some tension with Witherbloom Apprentice, which is that you have. Um, I would like to be playing mana rocks instead of traditional green ramp spells because I'm of the mind that building with mana rocks tends to be better. They come into play mostly untapped. They make any color of mana, and they feed into secondary game plans. If you're in blue, then they feed into Thoughtcast. If you're in black, they feed into cranial plating. I'm a really big fan of having a secondary cranial plating backup plan or even a primary plan. You know, if you're just ramping to a reasonable degree and you have 15 or more artifacts in your deck, then cranial plating can turn a potato into a cruise missile, and that's what we want. And so I really like the idea of extort over magecraft because it allows us to essentially magecraft or to get that extort trigger off of our mana rocks, which in Witherbloom Apprentice, you get most of the ramp spells, you do get the trigger, but the reality is, like, I would prefer to be playing Mana Rocks in those slots. And then it's possible that you could have like a cranial plating in there. But the real reason I want the Mana Rocks is because they generate value. They draw cards when you sacrifice them. They exile graveyards. They loot, or yeah, it's looting with Network Terminal. They draw cards like with Bonder's Ornament. They can filter with Lantern of Revealing. There's just a lot of utility slapped onto Mana Rocks that you don't get when you're playing a card like Grow from the Ashes, Sky Shroud's Claim, things like that. And personally, I just prefer playing with rocks. So the idea with Thrall Parasite was we can do that. And we can play Thrall Parasite turn 1, and on it's really going to be on turn 3, because if you went turn, like, the earliest you could do it would be turn 2 with maybe something like Okiba Reckoner Raid, which is the Saga for 1. You could Saga for 1 and then pay the extort, which would be pretty cool. But on turn 3, we can immediately start extorting off of everything we do. The commander is so cheap that it's going to be a very like unappealing target for removal, because this commander is just going to get recast, and it's just going to get recast, and it's going to continue to buffer our life total. And the idea here is to just play grindy mono black stacks. This is going to be black Witherbloom, bunch of Mana Rocks, bunch of draw, cranial plating for a backup, bunch of random good black stuff that generates value, comes back from the graveyard, recurs from our graveyard, and that's it. That secondary ability has like maybe 2 interactions that I care about. So the interaction I was thinking about with Thrall Parasite and the sagas, and this is not why we're playing the deck, but it's one thought, is that you can play a saga and keep it on a single track the entire time. So it's only, I believe it's only Okiba Reckoner Raid. So with Okiba Reckoner Raid, we can essentially like pay 1 life, tapping our Thrall to continually drain for 1 per turn with Okiba Reckoner Raid if we don't care about the creature. So it costs us 1 life, but it's draining everybody for 1. So that's an interaction that's in the deck, I think, because we will probably play Okiba Reckoner Raid. It's just a very cheap and efficient way to drain. The other thing is that it's basically it's a non-land permanent, so we could remove counters from like an Everflowing Chalice. That's one of the things I was thinking about too. Or maybe remove a counter from a Soul Stair Expedition or a Colony Garden, or yeah, I don't know. There's some random shit you can do, but like this is literally not why we're playing this. This is Thrall Parasite is a 1 mana extort. That's all it is. Anthony says could be Orzhov too for enchantment removal as black is a harder thing. Yeah, so let's take a quick look here at gonna go here back to presentation, and we're gonna go type creature O extort rarity common, and there's a couple of them, like 4 I think, but there's more. This is rarity common. I meant to do uncommon. Yeah, 3. So, and these are great because they, I mean, like Vizkopa Confessor giving you another color is nice, but look, like 5 mana, 4 mana, 1 mana. Yeah. I think we just play Thrall Parasite and we suck up the fact that we're not going to have like actual factual break ties or disenchant or things like that. We'll have like Debt to the Kami, Yargle. We'll have Debt to the Kami. We'll have, Feed the Swarm. We could play all sorts of stuff. Now, just to keep this super fresh, you can see I haven't done anything. I don't even have any considering cards in here. So this is going to be just raw dog, fresh off the skillet, hype new thing. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this is kind of like, in a way, it's like Passageway Seer versus Real Surreal in some ways, like where when I first made that switch over to Passageway Seer, which I've now kind of switched back from, it was like, oh, this is the pure, most efficient way to get that effect, is to be like, play the cheapest initiative creature you can and just focus hard on that. And this is kind of feels like that for Witherbloom. You're going to have less tech in the sense that you're going to have less like, of like the Monvuli acid moss. You're going to not have the storm spells. You're not going to do it as quickly. You're not going to kill people nearly as quickly. But like Witherbloom Apprentice, that shouldn't be your focus anyways. And it's just going to do it every game on turn one, which is that consistency is amazing. That's really one of the things about Passageway Seer that really appealed to me was, yeah, like turn three Passageway Seer, 95% of your games is like a really good way to increase your win percentage because it's just such a consistency increasing thing to do. I'm going to just do a quick adjustment to my camera here. Yeah, so let's get started here. There's cards that we're just like not gonna leave at home, and they're all the board wipes. Um, so we're gonna start with the classics of Pestilence, Crypt Rats. These are also like just like in Witherbloom Apprentice, these are gonna serve as closers as well. We're gonna have tons of mana, and we're just gonna be able to blow up the board and kill our opponents. Gotta get this filthy white border out of here. Get that Urza Saga art. So these are going to act as closers as well. So these are going to be great. Let's get our mana rocks in there. So I think it's going to be Arcane Signet. It's going to be Felwar Stone. And the nice thing about all this is that if we pack our deck with like a lot of these rocks that generate value, these are going to be amazing late game top decks still because we'll be able to cast them, extort them. If we really need to, we can just like cantrip and draw a card. So I'm really excited about this particular approach here and just like making all of our draws good in the late game. Whereas like in Witherbloom Apprentice, it's like less exciting when you get the ramp spells later on in the game. You really just want like all the draw at that point. So we've got that. We could do Prismatic Lens because I think 2 mana rocks are going to be premium here. So actually, we're going to do function, ramp, type artifact, CMC equals 2. The funny thing is we could even play Springleaf Drum in this deck because our commander is so cheap. That's another way that we could do turn two on that. Fractured Power Stone, probably not. Guardian Idol is great. We're definitely going to play that. And it can be a creature too, which is great. So like Ornithopter of Paradise is going to be awesome here. I really like Ornithopter in part because it's a creature that flies. And so when you're playing Cranial Plating in your deck, it gives you a way to just like slap this on and just like go to work. Star Compass is good. Yep. So this is a good start here. Okay. And then let's do Springleaf. Yeah, Sarazen, off roll Parasite. You know what, Ryan? You got me good. I was half and half, but I couldn't put it together. Yeah, it's pretty difficult, like with so many different possibilities to guess exactly what it would be. But yeah, this is the one. This is the commander. And again, this was Brad had posted on this on Twitter. And if you all want more of my inner thought processes, my commentary and stuff, Twitter is a great place to follow me. You can get me there at Papa Popper. I know a lot of you probably don't use it. I just recently started using it for the channel, but I just post there almost daily with different thoughts. It's a good place to get some of that stuff. So yeah, that's I did write about it there. That was the one place where if I'd given you all a hint and said, "Oh, you can find it here," you probably would have gotten it. So Bonder's Ornament. This is another one of those weird things where like we're going to be playing a deck with a very cheap commander and lots of ramp because the deck is not so much around the commander, it's around just being a good mono black deck that's going to have this extort win condition sitting in the command zone. And mono black does like to have a lot of mana. It likes to like recur its creatures. It likes to have big value plays. It likes to have lots of devotion. So Bonder's Ornament, Network Terminal. We're going to have Honored Heirloom. Got to get Gay Rock in there. Absolutely. This is going to be under draw as well. as ramp. Ramp. Oops, gotta capitalize that there. Little OCD things. Okay, so now that we've got this in here, we can go Bonder's Ornament in both categories, Honored Heirloom, which is also going to go under Graveyards, which I misspelled. Lovely. There we go. And then we've got Ramp. Got Ramp. We go Mind Stone, Guardian Idol, Belwar Stone. We're probably going to play. The other one is called Fountain of Ichor. I've been a big fan of these lately. This one and Guardian Idol are 2 mana rocks that animate to become creatures. And so they can be animated. In this case, it's a little bit less important because we don't care if our commander dies. We're just going to recast it. Doesn't matter. But when the board is swept and somebody establishes, Monarch or Initiative, the Fountain of Ichor and the Guardian Idol can be animated to reclaim it while nobody has any creatures, and that is exceptionally powerful. It can mean that you spent 3 mana to hit somebody for 3, and then you're probably going to sit on the Monarch or the Initiative for 2 to 3 turns, if not the rest of the game, because nobody has any creatures. So yeah, that's all really good. And then now that we've got a good ramp package, I don't think we need much more than that. We're going to do the classics. We're going to do Sign in Blood. We're going to do Knight's Whisper. We're going to do Read the Bones. All of these, of course, are going to gain us life when we extort them, which is great. Boom, boom. We're also going to play Village Rites because with a 1 mana commander, why not? In a lot of ways, this is going to be kind of like having Rogue Rack or something like that, where we can just sack it. We just don't care. Just do not care. I think for the meantime, I like the Okiba Reckoner raid. It's basically what this is reading is we don't have okay. It's a cheap, efficient way to drain. We may find that this is too cheap, that we actually want to have higher value stuff. But similar to Witherbloom Apprentice, where I've been experimenting with cards like Vampire Spawn, basically Vampire Spawn in Witherbloom Apprentice is a body that is doing the Magecraft anyways. So if you think about that, it doesn't need to be an instant or a sorcery because it's doing that anyways while giving us a body. So if a body is premium, and it is in this format, bodies are incredibly important, then this is a body that generates Magecraft twice, which is great. And in this context here, it's doing extort. But more importantly, this is also pressuring our opponent. So a Deadly Dispute, yep, good. Deadly Dispute. We got Deadly Dispute in there as well. Good advice there. And then under creatures, and then untagged artifacts. This is a creature, so we can take this out of untagged artifacts. There we go. Good. So we've got those there. We're also going to want Siphon Mind. Yeah, and drop your recommendations in chat if you have thoughts. We're going to do this together, and we're gonna run it right through and see where we get. So, okay, Deadly Dispute. Okay, we're gonna want all of the initiative in the Monarch in this, to the surprise of no one. Under Dark. Anytime. There we go. Thorn of the Black Rose. These cards are just all so well suited to this plan. They've got big toughnesses. They generate repeat value. They work well with our sweepers. They help keep Pestilence in play. It's just we want these. It's kind of why there's a deck building pattern around black that tends to include these things. Not to mention the fact that you have all these ways to protect them with the Mass Edicts. So we are going to be playing those too. So Fleshbag, Marauder, and like I said right at the beginning of this conversation, this is not a complicated deck. This is smooth brain shit. Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. We've got Kryn saying, I can't believe wasn't playing Initiative and Lagrella. Yeah, so Initiative and Flicker decks can work out really nicely because you can use the Initiative as a finisher. You just go through it infinite times, you get all the creatures out of your deck, but most importantly, you just trap them for 5. It's an actual win condition. So, yeah. And with the Initiative, too, something you can do is you can allow the Initiative to go away from you. And if people aren't attacking you, then it can be a distraction. The only way that that backfires is if you are actually the problem, then the trap and the forge are going to get you dead. So it is a double-edged sword, but it's something you can do. Initiative, just like getting you a land, it really helps smooth out your curve. So yeah, Fleshbag Marauder, Slum Reaper, and then we've got Chain Devil. Yeah, this is just like just a who's who. We could even play Innocent Blood here because Thrall Parasite's only 1 mana. We can play Miracle. I've had to learn how to spell this one. Miracles Edict. There we go. We just like we're gonna be taxing the board in every possible way we can. We're going to make it miserable. This is not a deck that cares to even win quickly. Yeah, Blood Fountain, great idea. Yep, let's get that in here. Of course, it's going to be Tortured Existence as well, because this goes so well with like our creature heavy plan, recursion, and we'll get the other recursion effects in there too. But we'll just focus on this first. Draw. This is like just the purest stacks. I love it. I love it. Slum Reaper. And then we've got Thorn of the Black Rose, which is going to be a creature. Draw. And then we've got Vicious Battle Rager, which is just going to go under creatures. Creatures. Oops. Draw. And creatures. Okay. And I don't usually put Vicious Battle Rager under draw and Underdark Explorer under draw, but they really are. I mean, they draw you a card right off the bat, and then they draw you more cards later on. So it's true. Okay, so we have 37 cards. Let's just put in 34 swamps right off the get go. Just get that done. Evan Carr's Justice as well is going to come in as a sweeper. I know we're bouncing all over the place here. We're just getting the good staples black cards in here. Spinning Darkness is kind of a bitch to track, but yep. Defile. As you saw in the thumbnail, I was kind of thinking Corrupt would be sweet. I think that it doesn't. There's not a ton of decks that you want Corrupt in. Because it's that's a really sweet new art. But honestly, like this old one has always been the coolest. So Corrupt is a removal spell, but it's a really bad one in a lot of ways. Like it's sorcery speed, it's 6 mana. But what I really like Corrupt for is it's just a boom headshot. Like you get to a point in the game, you look at someone and you say, "You're dead. Die." Pew. And I think that there's some value to that. The life gain is like no joke either. Obviously, yeah, like counterspell makes you waste your 6 mana spell, but like we're going to be mostly swamps. The transmute tutor. So the only one that we're going to play, Anthony Kinese, that's a good idea. Is going to be Dimir Houseguard, and the reason for that is that Dimir Houseguard, like, well, okay, so we could play Shred. Shred Memory hits Cranial Plating. That's the best thing it hits. Shred Memory also hits Sign in Blood, Night's Whisper, Deadly Dispute. It hits Miracle's Edict for an Edict effect. So, like, what I'm oftentimes doing with a tutor is thinking about what mana costs do I have where there's a unique effect that I really care about. Cranial Plating is a good one, but I think Cranial Plating is very secondary to the deck. It's going to be a thing that we can do simply by the fact that we're going to have like 22 artifacts in the deck. And so like we'll just be able to put this on like some random shit and just like and just win with it. Like that's really what cranial plating is super good at, um is just like taking something really shitty and making it dangerous. So that's good. So we've got that. Um and we've got our 34 lands. Hey, what's up, Islane? How you doing? Um, you all should know that Islane, and it's on the not on the schedule yet, but Islane and I are planning on doing a Let's Build on Thursday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I've got it. We got it. Islane, you and I got to do some exchanging of marketing materials. Send me some of your like a headshot and some stuff, and we'll get that put on the calendar. Yeah, for Rasad Sword Coast Sailor. Rasad is the Doran siege tower of the format, and yeah, and any logos and stuff like that, just send me the PNGs of that. Omen of the Dead is interesting. It's a little bit lower value than I think we want to do. I think we can go way bigger. Something like Death Denied could be an option. Like, big, big. Like I think we're gonna have like 20 or more creatures. Let's get Gray Merchant in here. Um, Gray Merchant of Asphodel. Um, I also really, and this might look like a funny card, but I really liked the stat. Okay, so I really value stacking functions, and what I mean by that is that you're getting multiple layers of value that are dynamic in that they like can do lots of different things, or they do lots of different things at once. So I really like modal spells, and increasingly, even when a card doesn't say choose, I start to look at cards as is this modal. Diagraph Scavenger is modal. It is Death Touch, which is a big deal. It's going to disincentivize people attacking us. It's going to be hard to block. When it enters the battlefield, you're going to get an exile effect, which can be relevant, picking off an important spell, and it's going to drain if you hit a creature. So if you need to just gain some life, this does it. It's on a 2/3 body, so it works well with the Pestilence for 2. This is a card that I've been increasingly playing more of, so I like that. This kind of goes hand in hand with the Vampire Spawn. Dimir Houseguard is also supremely playable, and the reason why I put this in the list versus like other tutors is because 4 CMC for black is just so good. So let's quickly review what you can get at 4 mana in black. You can get Graveyard Hate with Diagraph Scavenger. You can get Monarch. You can get Initiative. You can get Siphon Mind. Okay. You can get Slum Reaper. You can get Chain Devil. You can get Snuff Out. If you literally just need a kill spell, it's 3 mana to transmute. You get the Snuff Out, you pay the 4 life. Now, that's not good, but it's very modal. It's in a pinch, it can be exactly what you need. You can get Pestilence, which is the biggest one. Yeah, Zonko is totally right. Pestilence is like the main reason we've got this. But if it was just Pestilence, that actually wouldn't be good enough for me. Because it's 7 mana. Pestilence is already very expensive, but what Guard is doing is it's like finding us basically any effect we could ever need, and that's worth it. So we play Dimir Houseguard all the time. The other thing is that Dimir Houseguard, when you transmute it into your graveyard, when you're discarding it, it works really, really well with Tortured Existence because you can discard it in and then do the stuff. So, okay, so Death Denied. I don't know how deep we're going to go into this, but we'll see. I think we're just gonna play these. Phyrexian Rager. I was kind of thinking about Audacious Thief as another option. So let's do type creature O draw. There's like First Sphere Garganta, which is really good. I don't know about Dusk Legion Zealot. This might not be good enough for here. This is actually great because if we pay 1 to extort it, then no, actually, this doesn't work. So you'd have to have extorted earlier in the turn to get that effect. I was kind of thinking Audacious Thief. I've been really happy with this card, but the context I've been playing Audacious Thief in is where I'm giving it Death Touch. And so I don't know. I think First Sphere Garganta is great. Big fan of that. Scrapwork Rager, also a big fan. These unearth cards work really, really well with our edicts because we can like unearth them. It's uncounterable. They have haste. We can like go in and get the initiative of the monarch, and then we can like sacrifice them to the edict effect and then keep the edict creature. So I'm big on Scrapwork Rager and on First Sphere, even though like on rate they're a little bit below rate. Getting two uses of them and two cards is fantastic. Vulturous Haven is amazing. I really like Vulturous Haven because it's a strong form of card advantage that we can just get off of the Throne of the Dead 3. So this can come in, sack a creature, it's a Night's Whisper. It's also a flyer. So it's like 3 toughness, it's a flyer, it's evasive, it draws cards. Big on this one here. Unwilling Ingredient, not so much. Is there anything with Defender that we want in here? Because we could play something like Shield Wall Sentinel to tutor for it. Like Gibbering Barricade is one of the newer cards here where you can sack creatures to draw cards. Yeah, Ravamati, he says, "Damn, I was way off." LOL. Yeah, dude. No, everybody was basically. There were a couple people who mentioned that. Oh, Anthony Kinese, Big Fish. Yeah, sorry, you said this earlier. So let's get. Let me think about that actually. I don't know if we want Gurmag Angler. Like, I've not been playing Gurmag Angler in a lot of my decks lately because the trouble is that in black, we actually have a lot to do with that graveyard. We have, part of what makes black card advantage so strong is that when you start using the Reaping the Graves and the Death Denied, these become really massive draw spells. And Gurmag Angler is suited best for a deck where you are filling your graveyard really rapidly. And my experience with Gurmag Angler recently is that I'm frequently drawing it when I don't have anything in the graveyard, and it feels really bad. It's like I'm casting this 5/5 for like 5 mana or like 6 mana or something. It just so I don't think we're gonna play Gurmag Angler. Kryn asking about Dark Ritual, and yeah, and we're on Tortured Existence, but it's not just that. We've got Tortured Existence, we've got Blood Fountain, we've got Mortuary Mire, Witch's Cottage, Haunted Fengraph. I mean, it's just like a huge amount of graveyard interaction. So I don't think we play Gurmag Angler. I think it's better suited for like a Demir deck or something. But yeah, Gibbering Barricade is one of them. What else do we have here? Is there anything else we care about? Because Shield Wall Sentinel is a colorless way to pick up tutor up a defender. One that is interesting is actually there's a black wall that has pro black. Yeah, Cemetery Gate. This would be an interesting one to play. Cemetery Gate allows us to keep Pestilence in play forever, and it's also a 0/5 that dies to nothing. It dies to Unholy Heat, which nobody plays. It dies to Scred. It dies to Swirling Sandstorm. Like just nothing that's like super universal or common. I mean Scred, sure, but like, you know, Scred's a pretty premium removal spell, and I guess if you were in a pinch and you needed to get rid of the Pestilence, this would be one way to do it. We might just play Cemetery Gate anyways. This will be an iffy one. I don't think Cemetery Gate and Gibbering Barricade is good enough for Shield Wall Sentinel to make its way into the deck, but we can look into that. Okay, so we've got some stuff here. Got more draw and more creatures. More draw, more creatures, and more draw. Okay. And we're going to leave this stuff untagged that we're not sure about, like the Sokiba and whatnot. Let's just look up. I want to see how deep this goes. Evasion. Oh my god, it works. Okay, that's insane. So cool. Basilica Screecher, just having like more than one copies of Extort in play is great. We're happy to do that. We could even play something weird like Sky Scanner, which has actually made its way into a number of my decks. Cadaver Imp is great. increasingly I've been wanting to put Cadaver Imp in decks, just like Liliana Spectre. So even when I'm not doing mass discard stuff or major recursion stuff, like a inexpensive, evasive ETB value creature is really good in this format when you're playing with like in these mono black decks, particularly with like cranial plating and stuff. Yeah, Sky Scanner is like very reasonable. I actually kind of like Sky Scanner more than I do Phyrexian Rager. Phyrexian Rager is like been kind of outclassed in some ways by that stuff. So we could do something like Changeling Outcast, because we'll have lots of blockers, but this allows us to get in unblockably. So let's throw that in considering. These don't really play well with our sweepers, but they are a nice way to apply pressure. Hmm. Very Macabre. Falconwrath Noble. It's funny, I was just at the shop today and I was picking up a copy of Ghastly Gloom Hunter, which is in Rilsarail, because an evasive life-linking creature that picks up +5/+0 is really good. And the kicker is like not unreasonable to make it a 3/3 flyer. And so yeah, I've been hyped on this card. Even though it's funny, this is just like a very meh card in so many ways, but yeah, you put it in the right context and it's damn good. Um Liliana Spectre, I think we are going to play. I don't know how deep we go into the discard. Um, we could play the cheap discard creatures as well. I don't really like leaning heavily into like these cheap creatures if our main game plan is to eventually resolve a sweeper. Pilgrim's Eye is also kind of in that vein as an evasive ETB value creature, just getting a basic. This is a card that Derek from the Popper Commander RC often likes to put in decks, just helps like smooth out your curve. Like drawing a land is like worse later on than drawing a card, I think. But yeah, so, you know, but it's better earlier on, I would say, in a lot of cases. Okay. Okay. How many cards are in this particular? Okay, we're getting to the bottom. Oh, where is Vampire Sovereign? I want that card in this deck. Street Wraith is kind of funny. Swamp Walk is probably decent right now. All right, Vampire Sovereign. I have been looking for a home for like a good home for this deck, and this is one of them. 3/4 evasive creature with ETB drain. It is everything that we want. Okay, so we're at 93 cards. This might go pretty quick, in all honesty, which isn't a terrible thing. Siege Rhino. This is a new. This is a new. Wait. Oh. Sorry, chat. I know Siege Rhino. It's the 4 mana 3/4 that drains when it ETBs. Yeah. No, you're totally right, Kryn. That it is a Siege Rhino. Yeah. Yep. Good call. Yeah, that's funny. The thing is the flying is just like huge here too. I was like Siege Rhino. It's like I thought there's like a black Rhino card, isn't there? I think it was uncommon. Rarity. There's an uncommon black unearth Rhino that just got printed, and that's what I was thinking of. So Oubliette is not in the deck. I ought to be tossed in there for forgetting. But that's what I've got you all here for. Be my backup hard drive, my secondary brain space. One of the reasons I actually really like the Fairy Macabre as well is this is another like modal spell, right? Like it's an evasive 2/2. It's got double black pips, which is nice, but that exile ability is like uncounterable. And off of Throne of the Dead 3, I have like killed people with like a 5/5 Fairy Macabre, you know. It's just a good card. I tend to look for other forms of graveyard hate that have some other form of modal value, like and we could still play it in here like Rotten Reunion, because Rotten Reunion makes bodies that we can sacrifice, and you know, we can sacrifice them to Reckoner's Bargain, to Village Rites, to a Deadly Dispute. We can sacrifice them to the Edict, so we can keep the Edict creature. We can sacrifice them instead of sacrificing something we want if somebody else is using an Edict on us. And we can use them to also gain the initiative of the Monarch. So I like that, and the modality is important. And so the modality of Fairy Macabre is that you can flip it off of Throne of the Dead 3. It's an evasive 2/2 flyer. It's got double black pips, and then sometimes you're going to use it as graveyard hate. Cadaver Imp is going to go in here. Cadaver Imp, of course, is also going to go under recursion. So you can see there is going to be quite a bit of recursion in this deck. We're going to have the other copy of the Silica Screecher there. Free 4/4 Mirror Enforcer. Hmm. Do we have enough artifacts to do that? So if I go and add, so let's do the one that we do play is Vault of Whispers. I think we're going to be at like 25, which maybe that's actually good enough. So Vault of Whispers, we actually do play Darksteel Citadel, and that might seem weird. It's like, why do you play that? Because having lands that we can sacrifice to our Reckoner's Bargain and our Deadly Dispute, just like built into our mana base, is very free in this mono black deck. So let's do that. And then we're also going to have, so yeah, so if we did Sojourner's Companion and Mirror Enforcer, that would put us up to 23 artifacts. Yeah, that's probably enough for it to be okay. I just wonder if there's something else that would be like more premium in that slot. Like I was kind of thinking about, like Siphon, no, Blood Tithe. These are basically spells that are just the extort. That's an option. We don't really have enough removal in the deck, so I think we need to do that first. So it's going to be a Victim of Night, like these slots, you know, for Drain Life. I think instead of Drain Life, we want to do something that hits everybody, and I think our copy of Drain Life is Corrupt. We also should play Tendrils of Corruption as well. Just another Tendrils of Corruption here is the 4 mana, only hits creatures, but it's instant speed. So it's pretty good. Victim of Night, we're going to do Grasp of Darkness. Oh, I hate the art on this card. It's just got to be, you got to switch it over to the alien getting, or the angel getting pulled down by the Ichor. I find that very flavorful and timely. Yep, we got Defile. Got Defile here. Good call. Cemetery Gate is probably not going to make the cut. I don't know that Reckoner Raid will make the cut either. Although the funny thing is, like, Reckoner Raid is basically a 1 mana version of Vampire Spawn. So if we're playing Vampire Spawn, then like Reckoner Raid is in there too. It's just the Reckoner Raid is a little bit slow, or is it? No, it's actually just way better because we can attack on turn 4 as soon as we can attack with this. But that's the same for Vampire Spawn. So I think we play it. Just a body with Drain on it. We probably need some more removal here because we are going to be kind of a late game control deck. What else would we want? I mean, there's Syndicate Enforcer, which is the other extort card, but Syndicate Enforcer is so much worse. Suffocating Fumes, yeah, we could do Suffocating Fumes. Suffocating Fumes is very like targeted, and I think that maybe during this current meta right now, this is good because we can just cycle it at the very least. Yeah, Arms of Hadar would be my pick instead, because Arms of Hadar actually kills, like, okay, so Suffocating Fumes is good against elf ball strategies, but particularly it would be more about like the incidental elves that people play that ramp, like your arbor elves, and it's great against Gretchen. Suffocating Fumes hits most of the things in Gretchen, and it draws a card. But Arms of Hadar is like, and actually, there's even better than Arms of Hadar, but it hits our stuff too. So maybe it's not better, but it hits everyone, and that's Eye Blight Massacre. And I don't think we need to play. Yeah, this one hits all non-elf creatures, so it's kind of ironic it like doesn't hit the elves, but it does hit everything else. My main concern is gut. These the gut decks are very fast. They apply a lot of pressure. I don't think we're worried about dying to gut because Thrall Parasite can draw us can gain us so much life. So maybe we don't need to go super deep into that. We have to keep in mind we have 5 edicts here. We actually could play Rottide Garganta as well in this role, and Rottide Garganta is a nice upgrade for Thrall Parasite if we want to just do that. So like I want to have like about 20 pieces of interaction. So there's 13, 14, 15, 16. So Eye Blight Massacre. We have to keep in mind we have Diagraph, Dimir Houseguard for Pestilence, Evankar's Justice. So I don't think we need to run for this or for Suffocating Fumes. We have a lot of draw. Just a lot of draw. I'm going to put Fountain of Vicar and Guardian Idol under creatures too, just to get a sense of the threat density. These 2 removal spells are slow, so we have Cast Down? We don't. And we don't have Doomblade. And Executioner's Capsule. You know, this would be a cool place too to do Seal of Doom as well, could be an option. These onboard removal spells are really powerful. I don't even think we're going to get Death Denied because our card draw is just like, it's so good. Like we've already, this is covered. 17 is a lot. Yeah, Seal of Doom, that would put us up to 12. 15, that would put us up to 20. Go for the throat, thank you. Yep, good call. Good call. Make sure also to switch up your printings when you bring these in, just in case you're coming on the stream, because the spell table does not recognize the 40k cards. So yeah, that's good there. I think Seal of Doom probably doesn't make the cut then. Yeah, I mean, Seal of Doom is basically the same thing as Capsule, except that you don't need mana to activate it, which in some ways is like better. You know, you just play it out there, and then it's like manaless. Manaless stuff is so good. So we could like try it. That puts us up to 13, 16, 21 pieces of interaction. I mean, look at this. We're at 100 cards, you know? So we get the basics in here, Witch's Cottage, Haunted, Fengraf, Bojuka Bog, Opal Palace, Study Hall. You can see I've done this a couple of times. Yeah, Piranha Marsh. No, we're not going to go that deep. 27 swamps, man. We're just going to be consistent. Love it. I need to look real quick at Passageway Seer and look at the mana base here. Oh yeah, we've got more. Yeah, so like Barrenmore, yep, just like you recommended, Anthony. We could play Polluted Mire, Tokasha's Dig Site, and Quicksand. I think Barrenmore at the very least, but I don't think we need to go as deep as running Polluted Mire because we already draw a lot of cards. So I think this is a pretty reasonable place to be. We don't need Cave of Temptation. We have 1, 2, 3 cards that don't make black. These can filter for black. Most of this produces black. Are there any other mana rocks that we're missing? I mean, 14 feels like a good number. Let's just give her a rip. This is not a good opener. This is a great opener. No mana rock, but that's okay. So, actually, let's just go into. Oh, I forgot that playtest streaming doesn't. One of these days, I'll get this figured out where I can have where I can show the edge over here. But it's just the way I've got my Mox field set up so that it kind of keeps the view. Yeah, a sphere would be an option too, but I think at 14 mana rocks, we're probably fine. That's like passageway seer numbers. So let's see, do we draw for turn? We have not drawn for turn. So we'll draw. That's a great draw. So we'll go Thrall, and just like turn one Thrall. I think this is going to prove to be really good. And I think what we're going to do here is go. Yeah, let's just get this out. And then 3, now we can go. I think that we've got enough spells in hand that we're just going to run out the Honored Heirloom and not focus on the trigger. And actually, let's get these scooted over so you all can actually see them. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I think in that early game here, because we got the 3 mana, we're just going to run it out so we have enough mana to go Study Hall, Vicious Battle Rager, and Extort, or we could double Extort the Phyrexian Rager. But you can see here, like, we're going to rapidly start making this Cranial Plating good. So untap, we're going to go Study Hall 1, 2, 3, Phyrexian Rager, paying 1, 2 for Extort, drain 2, gain 6, which just feels like cheating. Draw a card. Yeah. And then, okay. So this is amazing, by the way. This feels great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 for the double Extort. Cast this. Go and get a Swamp. Put that into our hand. Currently at this stage, we're sitting at 41 life. 41 life on turn 5. So next turn, we probably have to block with some stuff. So I think we probably block with the Thrall and the Phyrexian Rager. Just to keep that. Although it's turn 5, like we probably just have to block with like these two maybe. So let's just assume the Phyrexian Rager dies. Somebody just, I mean, there's a good chance we just hold it there. Like a 1/5 just doesn't. Yeah, but let's just assume we had to block. I like to when I'm doing this kind of a thing, and I'm gonna put 2+1/+1 counters on the on this. I like to assume the worst when I'm goldfishing, that like my opponent's interacting with me. So we don't have any card advantage here, but we do have Dimir Houseguard. It's not the time for Pestilence. It's a little too early for that to become public enemy number 1. So I think what we do is we go 1, 2, 3, transmute this for Siphon Mind, and then we're just gonna cast Siphon Mind. And the great thing is we have 3 creatures now in the graveyard, so we can or 3 cards in the graveyard, so we can Spinning Darkness. 1, 2, 3. There it is. So yeah, like mana is just great. And I think in this case here, we probably need to hold back. We're gonna have to block, but I think we're able to keep it. We probably goad next turn, and we're gonna go Swamp into paying 3 for Charcoal Diamond, drain 1, 2, 3 for Ornithopter, and yeah. And then I think we just sit here with Go for the Throat and Spinning Darkness. Like, there's no reason to get aggressive here. Yeah, this is a good opening hand. Yep, so we can't keep this. This is a one lander. This is a no lander, so we're gonna go to 6. Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, I think it is. Like this almost feels like a better version of Gary. You know, it's like Gary relies on you having all this stuff in play, which kind of makes you like hesitant to swing. It makes you like you just have to be more careful, and it can kind of bend your deck in weird ways where you're like, how do I get the most devotion? You know, ooh, big devotion. But it's like in reality, you just need to play Gary and a bunch of good black stuff. And in this deck, we're playing Parasite on turn 1, and we just immediately start doing what Gary does for every spell we have, regardless of whether it has devotion. So yeah, I think this is kind of scary. I fully agree. So I think in this hand right here, we probably throw back the innocent blood and we just keep the ramp because we have the cranial plating. Although we could like tuck the cranial plating as well. But I think because this is much more unique than this, so I think we put back the less unique thing. So we bottom that, draw for turn, go turn 1, parasite, surprise, surprise. This is what I was talking about, Anthony. Like I'm not memeing with this deck. I think this is actually like a very reasonable deck, and there's a small part of me that thinks that maybe it's better than Witherbloom Apprentice, which uh, which hurts my heart because I love Witherbloom Apprentice, but it's kind of like it's just more straightforward. You don't have to like. It's just way more straightforward. It's yeah. Um, Similar to how Third Path Iconoclast is a more straightforward Murmuring Mystic, because Murmuring Mystic also doesn't get triggers off of the mana rocks and it needs to play them. And in fact, you kind of want more than you can play because it's a 4 mana commander. And instead, you just play Third Path and then you ramp and you get tokens for the ramp, you know. And yeah, the tokens aren't flying, and yeah, they're not birds, so you don't get to play airborne aid, and there's some other stuff, but it's like there are artifacts. Your commander's 2 mana, you get red for actual removal, you get all the affinity bullshit, you get all the things that work with artifacts, and it's a human in the command zone as well, so you still get of one mind. And yeah, so I think like that's part of the epiphany here, is that Thrall Parasite might just be like a better, I don't, maybe better isn't the right word, but more straightforward Witherbloom Apprentice. Witherbloom has some stuff that allows you to, I don't know. Witherbloom has its own things going on for it. Like, but yeah, seems like the table is going to have to make your life total 16. Yeah, they're gonna have to come after. Gonna have to come after me. That's for sure. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So we already drew for turn. So here for prismatic lens, and so what we can see is like as soon as turn 3, we're gonna start extorting. So like we go Bonder's Ornament, and Bonder's Ornament just seems great here because we're gonna start. We'll draw cards off Bonder's Ornament. Draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Phyrexian Rager. Draw a card. Drain. So actually, if we hadn't drained there, we would have been able to cast this, which is a shame. That's okay. We go Knight's Whisper for 3. Gonna draw 2. Again, getting kind of punished there. Um, I don't. We don't want to play this for efficiency's sake. We sandbag that. Um, because this is so scary. Draw. Oof. Okay. So now we're definitely, and actually, I think we didn't have to discard. Okay. Siphon Mind. 1, 2, 3. No lands. Well, that's unreasonable. We'll just restart this. But like, regardless, even if this had happened, like we can just like pitch some stuff, and we could pitch this, and I don't know, pitch like Seal of Doom or something, and then just like move on with our lives. We can like do stuff. Um, This is a good hand. It's not crazy, but like this is very playable. Ooh, that made it a good hand. So we go Swamp, roll Parasite. This feels so good. Turn 1, like monocolored deck, you always play your commander on turn one is like Ravenous Squirrel's levels of consistency. So that's pretty interesting. Um, one, two, one, two. Yeah, okay. Play a land. Um, and we could like so no, we go Arcane Signet and we forego that first trigger because we're gonna get the trigger on the Liliana Spectre. Untap. Yep, it's great. And I think we actually want to run out our Darksteel Citadel just to start getting the artifact count up. I don't want us to like run into. Yeah, I think that's fine. Then we go tap this. We're gonna go Liliana Spectre with Extort, and then we're gonna draw. Look at this. These cheap Blood Fountain is gonna be amazing here. I think what we do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to find. We're gonna go 5. We want to find more stuff to do. So we're gonna draw 1, 2, 3, and with the Extort, we'll probably crack in. Like this, the Thrall Parasite is also like allowing us to be kind of aggressive with our creatures, right? Which is where that flying is going to be super nice. And like already we're getting to the point where this is going to be +5/+0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that is so stupid that we can just like put this on anything and just like have this like insanely powerful creature. So yeah, now we're gonna go 1, but I don't think we do this right away. This is like our trap card. We're gonna go Okiba, Reckoner Raid, pay 1, and then we're gonna go so 4 mana. We don't have anything to like defend right now. We don't have the Monarch or the Initiative, so I think we hold on to these, and we can continue to like develop our game plan. So maybe we go Blood Fountain with Extort, like that, and like right here, if you think about it, we've got how many times have we extorted? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've extorted 4 times. Okiba Reckoner Raid hit everybody for 1. So everybody is at 25, and we're at something stupid like 40 or whatever. And then we've got 2 mana up for Doomblade if we want to. So next turn, add a counter. We get the Ornithopter. And it's funny, it's like, if you get ramp cards, that aren't, I don't know. This is just like a totally different vibe when you've got Thrall Parasite. This is so much reach on this, right? Because any card, it doesn't matter what it is, can be extorted. This seems really good. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna play the Ornithopter of Paradise. We don't really have anything going on in our hand right now, so I am actually kind of thinking that we just want to run this Cranial Plating out now because we don't have anything else going on. And then we can attach it to the Okiba. We can attach it to any of these. We can start pressuring. People are going to see that, and it's going to be scary. Now we have Vicious Battle Rager. So I think what we do is we go. Let's just pull this down here. We go. This is going to reset. It's going to turn over. We're going to attach this to our Lilianas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So this just becomes an 8/1. It's really scary. And then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think we extort on this one because we just want to have the ability to swap the cranial plating. Go and get a swamp. And we have not played a land this turn, so we're going to replay that land. Oh, but if we know that we're going to get the land, then we do extort. And then we do this. And then we've got 2 mana up to switch cranial plating or to Doomblade something. Yeah, this is sweet. This is really cool. I'm actually really looking forward to playing this game. There's something just really satisfying about like how it's curving out really nicely, and like there's structural elements to this deck that are like unmistakably consistent. Like 17 draw spells, 24 creatures, very hard for us to die in combat, 14 ramp spells, 21 sources of removal, some nice recursion here. It's actually more than that in recursion because we also have Haunted Fengraf and we have Witch's Cottage, and we actually don't have Mortuary Mire in here yet either. Nope. Oh no, we've got the bug. There's a bug on Moxfield that'll sometimes start scrolling you endlessly. There's no cure. Okay, there we go. Back to, oh, now we're at 35 lands. Oh, we need to cut, yeah, cut one swamp. Okay. Um, anything else that we're missing here? This might just be like a really quick stream, which I don't hate. My streams tend to be kind of long, and we're trying to work on getting that number down a little bit. Hour and 14. That's something we can be proud of. Anything else we would want here? I was kind of thinking about the other mass edict effects we could be playing, like Rot Tide Garganta, which is pretty good in this deck because Rot Tide can just upgrade our commander. It's like Ravenous Squirrel, you know, like in Ravenous Squirrel, if your commander hasn't died yet and you've got lots of mana because you've been ramping, you're like perfectly happy to just like make a 5/4 by sacking your commander. It's like not that big a deal. There's a part of me that likes that. We could be playing something like Mockroot Behemoth would be kind of interesting. Let's do like CMC is three, greater than 3. No, that's less than. Greater than 3. Type creature. O enter enter. Just look at something kind of broad here and just see what we might turn up. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, like 100%. Blight Breath Catoblepus is kind of interesting. Um, there's not a lot of creatures that have removal on them in the format. So like Ravenous Chupacabra is not a common, and there really aren't like amazing analogs to Ravenous Chupacabra. They're like Blight Breath Catoblepus is one of them that we could put into considering. And the reason we want these is that off of the initiative, which we could actually be playing the Delvers, um, the torch. Can't remember it. The initiative torch. It's not Delver's torch. It's called. Can't remember. Anyways, we could be playing the torch too. Initiative is just that good, and our creatures are small. Maybe, yeah, maybe we do want that. But Blight Breath Catoblepus. The reason we want this is that cards like this, when we have the initiative, allow us to put removal into play off of Throne of the Dead 3. And that's really good. So there's a couple of options. One of them is Blight Breath, which comes in pretty big. It comes in as a 6/5. So we'll put this one. We've already got this in considering. Interesting. I haven't looked at this one before. Direfleet Interloper. Reveal the top card. Put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and then put it back or put it into the graveyard. 3/3 menace if you like the card and you want to keep it, which essentially is just information. That's not very good. Diregraph Scavenger does not necessarily need to stay in the deck. I think it's good. By the way, fun fact: Faceless Butcher just got upshifted. This card is now was upshifted in Dominaria Remastered to uncommon. So you can play this in the command zone now. Although honestly, I would have done it before anyways. I don't find the limitations around uncommon and legendary. I think those are all kind of somewhat arbitrary. So I would just play that. That'd be sweet. I don't know if it's good, but we could be playing something like Ghastly Death Tyrant. Oh, you know what we don't have? We are missing a couple of things. We are missing Feed the Swarm and Debt to the Commie. Oh, there's also this one too. Predatory Night Stalker is really cool. This is just an ETB with a Chainer's Edict on it, or a Diabolic Edict, but it doesn't cause you to sacrifice a creature. It's just it's just another player, so it's actually like puts you up on creatures. So I actually quite like this. We could also be playing some of like the black stacks creatures, like Poison Belly Ogre. Um, Actually, this is kind of interesting. Poison Belly Ogre and Bloodseeker work with our commander really well, and we can flip them off of Throne of the Dead 3. And what these do is they stop flicker combos. People flicker a creature, and they can only do it so many times as they have life to do it, which doesn't mean GG for them. It just means that that they may not be able to combo off fully. There's also Shrine Steward, which could tutor for. There's nothing that I'm really excited about. The main one is called Twisted Embrace, I think is it's called, which is a 4 mana aura that makes a +1/+1 on a creature, and then you destroy target creature. It's the only tutorable aura in black that allows you to outright destroy a creature. There's some other ones like that give -3/-3 and things like that, but nothing that just says destroy. But I don't think that's super useful here, giving like it's 4 mana to do it. So stone retrieval units kind of interesting. Oh, because this makes a power stone and all that. New guy that drains. Oh, creeping bloodsucker. Yeah, good call. Creeping Bloodsucker. I think that's a good one for this deck too. Wait, what was that at the bottom? Oh no, that's yeah, dog shit. Okay. Yeah, Creeping Bloodsucker is kind of cool, isn't it? So Creeping Bloodsucker, like the way to look at this is one free extort. Wait, why is that so expensive? Wait, hold on. Why is this $3.22? That's so funny to call that expensive, but like relative to other commons, that's a really funny price to me. Um, so yeah, this is just one free extort every turn. It's a little slow, but this is a slow deck, and I think I like it. I think I like Creeping Bloodsucker. So then we need to figure out what creatures are coming out. I think the Bleak Coven Vampires is good. I also, yeah, okay, so that's all solid. Um, we probably cut Seal of Doom. We don't need that. We are pretty loaded on graveyard or on removal. I think Diregraph Scavenger is going to go. I like that card, but I don't think we need it. Creeping Bloodsucker. Yeah, let's look at considering here and see what it is. So we have these. Man, I would love to put Bloodseeker in here. Oh, there's yeah, Bloodseeker is. Yeah, Bloodseeker is more than just stacks in this deck. Stacks, and it's not really stacks. I call them black stacks effects because they act kind of like they're like an inhibitor on combo decks, just like a rule of law would. So they function similarly in that sense. Um, but it's I know it's a little bit of a funky way to look at it, but yeah, Bloodseeker is like if we play this on turn 2, this is going to do an enormous amount of work on our opponent while also being a way to stop combos. I really like that actually. Um, Bleak Coven Vampires is starting to look kind of weird now that I think about it. It's like the reason I like Vampire Sovereign a lot more is that it's like, for one thing, it's unconditional. It's also a 3/4 instead of a 4/3, and it flies. So I think that there's actually a lot more that I like about that than Bleak Coven. And Bleak Coven's probably the weakest link. We have Pilgrim's Eye. Well, you know what we don't have is Sky Scanner. I know we're adding cards when I'm supposed to be cutting, but I think Sky Scanner is good enough. Um, Pretty deep bench of 3 cost cards, pretty deep bench of 4. Not much on the cheap plays here. It's going to be mostly rocks, which is fine. So basically, plan is throw Parasite, ramp like a motherfucker. Sorry, ramp hard, and then and then we can cast all these spells. That seems intuitive. So 12, 17, 20. Okay, we're at a nice number there. I think Cadaver Imp wants to be here. It's gonna feel bad when Cadaver Imp doesn't, like when we have it early and it doesn't get something out of the graveyard, but we want to have a creature. That won't feel very good. And we're at 23 artifacts, though. This is a good number. It's a fine vintage. Oh, we've got Bajuka Bog also there for graveyard hate. Um, hmm. Yo, what's up, Timmy? How you doing, buddy? We are we are neck deep in Thrall Parasite, which is a 1 mana extort creature. And just trying to make that last cut. We finished, we kind of quote unquote finished at about 15 minutes ago, but after we did a little bit of play testing, but then I realized that there were a couple of things that needed to be adjusted. Good dude, just updating the website. Fantastic. That's awesome. You know, so chat, there is a consideration here, which is potentially tendrils of corruption. Like, corrupt is like a fireball that kills people, whereas that can still kill creatures, but it's not instant speed. Whereas tendrils is only creatures, and we already have so much life gain in the deck that I wonder whether this is just like kind of dumb. Like, corrupt is just like a boom headshot, which I like, but I think we can cut tendrils because we're extorting so much that that's okay. And that puts us down to 11, of which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them are instant speed. That's probably good enough. It's a little slim. It's so weird how my attitudes have changed around this. Like, I really do look at Pilgrim's Eye and Skyscanner, and I kind of prefer it almost completely to Phyrexian Rager these days. Flying is so important. It's so good. Let's just do a quick look. Type creature, O, flying, flying, O, and then we want to do O, enter, or O, leave, or O, dot, dies, maybe? I don't think the dies is nearly as good. This is kind of an interesting one. Courier Bat. When it enters the battlefield, if you gain life this turn, return up to one creature from your graveyard to your hand. So this is basically a better Cadaver Imp that if we extort, will this is yeah, this is great actually. Courier Bat's what we want. It's like Death's Head Buzzard, but this like kills our stuff too. Um, hmm. I prefer the ETB. Yeah, something like this right here, which actually it's actually not that bad if everybody loses life because we gain so much. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm fine with that. Something like yeah, okay. Wait, what's that? Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay. So we added the courier bat, which is going to go under recursion. And it's funny because recursion is basically just another form of draw. In a sense, it's just something specifically from our graveyard. So like we're playing 25 draw spells right here. Kind of crazy. Courier bat's great. This kind of oh, you know what? Tragic Slip's pretty good here too, especially with all the mass edicts. And frankly, I want to be playing this as well. Rottide Garganta is a thick boy. He is a house. It's another like these edict effects like help turn on things like Tragic Slip, but they're more than that. You know, Tragic Slip's great. This is a oftentimes you can just like piggyback off of other people using their spells, so I think that's pretty good. Like more and more corrupt is starting to look like why are we doing this? Like we have cranial plating that is like the boom headshot, and that's probably sufficient. It's funny because I keep starting my deck builds in mono black with corrupt in it, and then as I go through, it comes out. And it's because there's just like, yeah, so Anthony, you're talking about Trespasser's Curse. Trespasser's Curse is very good. However, with Trespasser's Curse, I think that a lot of the times the reason we're playing it is because it's gaining us life. And we don't really care as much in this deck. Like I play it in Mayhem Devil because quite often we just die to people doing stuff like killing us. But what Curse also does is it's a more resilient version of Poison Belly Ogre or of Bloodseeker, where it's basically going to like it's very hard to get rid of, and it will stop flicker combos. So I like Curse and I want to put it in the deck. But hmm, but it's only hitting one player. I think we're gonna stay with Bloodseeker for now, but Curse is like a common card that you see, a common card that you see in these mono black decks. Maybe Blood Fountain isn't good enough if we're playing these two. Like these are better than Blood Fountain, I think. Blood Fountain does add to our artifact count, which is nice. But I think Blood Fountain's gonna go. Like we have so much draw and so much recursion here. I'm gonna cut that. Tortex is great. This is all sacrosanct. We don't touch that. We've got two cuts. It's going to be corrupt. I'm sorry. Corrupt is going to be so good sometimes. Like we're just going to like kill a player, and I think that's like. Can you imagine if we just do it for like 8 and they just you're just dead? But I feel like I don't feel like ending the game is our concern. Like we just disrupt, 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 kill you with random stuff, extort, you're dead. And we do it slow. Like we don't need to rush at all. And the funny thing is that this deck, I think when we get it down to the yeah, it's like under $50 too. Yeah. Okay. Vulturous Haven is starting to look like it has less things that I want to actually sacrifice. I will mention that. I think this is gonna go. Yeah, Vulturous Haven like works best when you have Virus Beetle and Elderfang Disciple and Burglar Rat. that kind of stuff because you just get the value and you're gone. Like Dimir, when you have like a Dusk Legion Zealot and stuff like that. But we don't have that. We are focusing on evasion here. And so that comes at a 3 mana cost almost always. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to put a pin in it here. This was fun. This is sweet. I like this. Is there an old printing of Doomblade that has old art, old border? There's got to be. There's not. Well, this is the best art that's ever been made for it, so have to play the Ob Nixilis's art. Go for the throat. Does not grasp. No victim. No. Okay, Oubliette. Sweet. Oh, we gotta get Springleaf Drum in the old art. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Cool. Yeah. I think this is gonna call it a wrap here, just so we can let you all get on to the rest of your day. But I'm excited about this. I think this is a very reasonable deck to pick up. Um, Mono black is one of the strongest monocolored. Uh, it's just one of the strongest colors you can just only be in because and we're still missing a couple of things. Dang it! Feed the swarm. Sorry, I was just about to close off on you here, but let's do feed the swarm. We got to get this in here. And then we really should have debt to the commie as well. And honestly, like unstable obelisk here too. Maybe we play that instead of Fountain of Ichor. I can buy that. Unstable obelisk. And then this is going to be an edict. So we could cut. I mean, these edicts are so high value in this deck. But maybe we cut Innocent Blood. Innocent Blood is good, but like I don't really want to be sacking my own creature. Miracle's Edict is kind of just better that way. Okay, we need to cut one more, which will be. I think we could probably cut a rock. It's fine if we cut a rock. 2/2. You do want to hit turn 2 rock though. Maybe we cut the Pilgrim's Eye, or we could cut Phyrexian Rager. It's nice when it smooths out our draws early on. We've got so much draw in this deck. Maybe these are great early plays. Gonna get so much value off of them. Tough call. All this is looking really good here. I like all this. Fairy Macabre could be the cut and just rely on Bajuka Bog and Honored Heirloom, but Fairy Macabre is a real premium spell. Could cut Star Compass. $13 rocks is probably still fine. Or maybe it's maybe I mean Obelisk hits anything. I feel like Obelisk is important to have in the deck just because we only have 3 ways to unlock Thrall from an Oubliette, and somebody could do that. It'd be kind of weird. There's usually like way better targets for Oubliette, so I'm not sure if that's like something I need to be worrying about, but that is a thing that could happen that would disrupt our plan. I think these edicts are a really important part of our strategy. Yeah, let's just shave here. We'll just cut 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, as long as we have twice as many mana rocks as we have, or 2 mana rocks, and we have 3, I think we're fine. So we're gonna cut. Um, we're gonna cut Star Compass. I think we could cut Ornithopter. Let's cut Ornithopter. Cool. Well, there we are, chat. Thanks for stopping by. This is a really dope looking deck. I'm going to drop the link here in the chat. I know I didn't provide this to you earlier. Sorry about that. But I'll put it in the description below. So if you want to share this with your friends, you're welcome to do so. Yeah, and if you've enjoyed the content today, please take a moment. It's totally free to you. Put a like in the video. Subscribe if you want to see more of the content. Hit the bell icon if you want to get notified about more random videos like this. I find that when I am deck building, when I'm inspired as opposed to on a schedule, it is a better stream experience for you and for me. And the decks we build are better. So, like, I had this inspiration this morning. I was like, okay, I'm going to put it out of my head. I'm going to design a thumbnail for it, and we're just going to send it. And I think it worked out really well. So, hit that bell icon if you want to get notified about when I'm going live like this. And I think that works well for you. Also, if you feel compelled, we've now brought in a way for you all to contribute to the channel. There's a little money sign down there, down in the chat. If you do feel like you want to support what we're doing, that's a great way to do it. We do take donations for deck techs and for other things like that. If you have some sort of content that you want to make that would come along with that, then you're absolutely welcome to reach out to me and to talk with us about that. Clay and I are also introducing our new membership program for the common connoisseurs, and that is going to include 4 different tiers from $1, $5, $10, and $50 a month, where you can support our content. And we've got a long list of things that we intend to deliver to you in the form of various products, services, and other ways of engaging in this community that you love and care about. So, yeah, reach out if you have any questions about that. There should be a join button there if you want to get in on that at whatever level you're able to support. Clay and I were doing the math on it. And if everybody donated a single dollar a month right now to support the content we're doing, it would actually be really life changing for me right now. So, we are going to start talking about that a bit more at the beginning of our streams, just to encourage people to support at the level that they can the content, so that we can continue to support me as an independent content creator and Clay as my partner in this venture. So, with that said, connoisseurs of fine common cardboard, thank you so much for stopping in today, for helping us make this deck, for making sure there's an oubliette in our mono black deck. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening. And I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.